Hello, boys and girls. This is Mr. Giomini. I want to give you a couple examples for the Chapter 3 post-test coming up. Let's take a look at some. I'm not going to do all these, but I will do some of them, and hopefully if you want, you could try the other ones. Might be a little good practice for you. Or better yet, as I do number 8 here, why don't you try number 8 first, pause the video, and then once you have an answer, hit play and see if you have it right. Okay, so for number 8, I have negative 14 plus 18. I see the addition sign. I see signs are different, so find the difference. Signs are different, a negative and a positive, find the difference. So all I'm going to do over here is go, hey, let's take the larger number, which is 18, subtract it from 14. 18 minus 14 is 4. The number with the larger absolute value is the 18, and it is positive, so my answer will stay positive. If I look at number 9, signs are different, or signs are the same. A negative plus a negative. When the signs are the same, I just add. 32 plus 7. I'll ignore the negatives right now. That gives me 39. Signs are the same, so my answer is the same, so it's negative 39. It's you owe me $32 plus you owe me another $7. You owe me now $39. Owing is a negative. Now I go to number 10. This caused some kids problems. Looking at number 10, I see negative 26, 26, yeah. 26 plus negative 23 plus negative 45. What I like to do here, I see the two negatives, so I'm going to combine those first. Because I know a negative and a negative will give me a negative. So we have 45, negative 45 plus negative 23. Now I know they're both negative, so my answer will be negative. And I just add them. 5 plus 3 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. So now we have negative 68 plus 26. Now, signs are different. Find the difference. Difference means to subtract. So I just subtract 68 minus 26. I get 42. Now, which one has a greater absolute value? It's the negative 68, so that means it's a negative 42. Now we go to subtracting integers. And I remember this keep, and I look at the change here, keep the minus sign, or look at the minus sign. So keep, change, change. So this really becomes negative 10, change the minus to a plus, change negative 25 to a 25. Signs are different, so find the difference. Now we go back to the addition rules. 25 minus 10 is 15. Which one has a greater absolute value? 25. My answer stays positive with 15. Let's look at this one. Okay, we have negative 15 minus 2. I'm going to focus on just these two right here. So let's keep, change, change. So this becomes negative 15. Change the minus to a plus. The opposite of 15 is negative 15. Negative plus a negative gives me a negative, so that gives me negative 30. Now I'm going to tack on that minus 2, so negative 30 minus 2. Remember, it is keep, change, change. Keep, change, change. Negative 30 plus negative 2. Negative plus a negative gives me a negative. 30 plus 2 is 32. They're both negative, so my answer will be negative. Okay, let's take a look at some more examples here. Graph each set of numbers on a number line. Okay, so I have negative 6/10, 0, negative 1 1/8, and negative 1 5/6. Well, the easiest for me is 0. That's the largest number in all of this. Now the rest is a little tricky. Now I could write here what's between 0 and negative 1. Well, that's a negative 1 half, or negative half. What's between negative 1 and negative 2? That's a negative 1 and 1 half. Now, negative 6/10 is further away from 0 than negative 5/10. Because think about it. If I took away this negative, which number is bigger? Would it be 6/10 or 5/10? Which one's larger? Which one has a greater absolute value? Well, 6/10 has a greater absolute value. But when I throw a negative on here, it actually is further away from 0 because it has a larger absolute value. So if this is negative 1 half, negative 6/10 would be right about there. So we got negative 6/10 there. We have 0 here. We have negative 1/8 and negative 5/6. Now, I don't know what 5/6 is as a decimal. So I have 5 divided by 6. 5 divided by 6. Throw a decimal point in the quotient. Add 2 zeros. 6 doesn't go into 5. 6 goes into 48 or 50. 8 times, that gives me 48. I subtract. That's 2. Bring down the 0, 6 goes into 20 3 times. Let's just stop there. So this one is rewritten as negative 1 and 83 hundredths. Well, this is negative 1.5 or negative 1 and 5 tenths. So in the middle would be roughly negative 1 and 75 hundredths. So negative 1 and 83 hundredths has to be somewhere in between these two. So right there is my negative 1 and 5/6. My negative 1 and 1/8. So I'm just a little bit smaller than 1. So I'm probably hugging that 1 almost. So it's negative 1 and 1/8. Okay, show each fraction is rational by writing it as a fraction. Well, this is a mixed number, not a fraction. So to write it as a fraction, we do our little smile. The girl winks. And then we have a sparkle in her eye. This is a negative, so my answer will be a negative. 6 times 11 is 66. Plus 2 is 68. So I have 68 elevenths. That's it. Okay, this says 205. 205 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it's 205 over 1,000. I can get away with this because it doesn't ask me to simplify. This last one is 8 tenths, hundredths. So it's 8 hundredths. So we have 8 hundredths. All right. Oh, this one's here. Rewrite the fraction with a common denominator. Determine whether they are equivalent. Now, I see these two are such large denominators, so I might just try to simplify these. So we have 84/96 and 56/64. I'm going to look at these first and say, what goes into both? Well, I know these two I can divide by 12. And I'm good with my facts. That's why I know this. That's why I keep preaching. Practice those. 84 divided by 12 is 7. 96 divided by 12 is 8. I go here. I'm going to divide both of these by 8. 56 divided by 8 is 7. 64 divided by 8 is 8. Look at that. They have the same denominator, and they are equal. So these are, yes, they are equivalent. Let's look at the next one. I have 16/24 and 9/6. Well, you know what? I don't really even need to find a common denominator because I noticed that one's improper and the other's not. If it's improper, that means it's greater than 1. If it's not improper, it means it's less than 1. So 16/24 is less than 1. 9/6 is greater than 1. But I must find a common factor or common denominator. I look at the bigger one first. Does 6 go into 24? Yes. 6 times 4. So there's my common denominator, 24. So this stays 16/24. What do I do to 6 to make it 24? I times it by 4. So times the numerator by 4. That stays 24. This is 36. These are not equal. So these are no, they're not equivalent. Okay, to change this to a mixed number, we say what times 5 gives me close to 44? It is 8. The denominator travels with me. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 44 gives me 4. So 8 and 4/5. This next one says, write 45/24 as a decimal. Right, 45/24 is a decimal. Doesn't that say what is 45 divided by 24? Sure does. Throw a decimal up in your quotient. Add some zeros if you'd like. 25 goes into 45 once. That's 25. I subtract. That's a 1. That's a 2. My remainder is smaller than my divisor. I'm okay so far. Bring down a 0. I'm going to guess that's about 8 times. 8 times 4 is 32. Oh, what I do wrong there, Mr. Giomini. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 3 gives me 19. I subtract. That is 8. Comes a 0. That's 1. Bring down another 0. Oh, what is this? What times 24 gives me 180? Let's try. Can't be 8, can it? Can it be? What can it be? Oh, wait. I got 18 here. Bring down this 0. Sorry. Yeah, I brought down the wrong 0. Excuse me. Brought down the wrong 0. Let's try 7. That's 28. That's 14, 15, 16. That looks better. I always stop at things. That makes sense. Now bring down this 0. I have a 1 here. That gives me 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. Hey, there's my final answer. 1 and 875 thousandths. I'm going to leave you with this. Write it as a fraction, simplest form. tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that's 32 over 1,000. But it's a simplest form. This is not simplified. I'll give you a clue. Divide both numerator and denominator by 8. And you should come up with 4 over. Let's see, I can't do 8. Excuse me. I can't do 1,000 divided by 8 in my head. Not smart enough. So I use pen and paper. 1,000 divided by 8. Sorry about my sloppy 0 there. That's once. That is 8. Subtract. That's 2. Bring down. That's a 0. 8 times what gives me 20? How about 2? That gives me 16. That's pretty close. That is 4. Bring down a 0. That is 5. So 4 over 125. 4 125ths. All right. Use this to help you prepare for the test. Enjoy.